7th, 2025, man. We well on into the third quarter, and I just kind of want everybody to set the intention on where it is that you want to be at the end of the year. It's kind of like the longer you've been trading, you should start noticing, man, these years start flying by, and you will always want to be at a further place than you were the year before, right? And I know some of you guys started trading and you said this year was going to be your year, and you might still be kind of stuck, going in circles. You may not be making the progress you quite want to make. And I'm just sit here and ask, what are you willing to do in order to change that? At the end of the day, guys, it's all up to you. You got to make a decision to win. And when you're ready to win and not pretend, that's when you're going to do whatever it takes, right? Whether it be journaling, whether it be, taking the extra time, whether it be studying, back testing, whatever it takes, guys, is whatever it takes, right? And that's one thing you got to realize, like, this game is going to take 100% of you to succeed. A lot of you guys may not realize this, but you chose the hardest industry in the world, right? But it is the most rewarding, when you could just hang out with your family, you can make sure people straight with the push of a button. I will tell you, it does definitely hit different, but you also got to realize, what is it that makes you worthy of that lifestyle where so many others fail, so many others stressing out, getting gray hairs, giving up, having to go back to work, back to a place that they hate. Why you and not them? And when you really start to be honest about that question that you ask yourself, when you really start to be honest about the work and the dedication it's going to take, I feel like that's when you're going to have the breakthrough, because that's when full transparency is going to come into effect, right? And full accountability is going to come into effect, right? And again, sometimes it takes years to get to that point. We would hope that it doesn't. Obviously, you want to learn from others and, not learn from your own mistakes, but at times this is just the reality of it. Sometimes you're going to have to lose for a while in order to realize and gain the wisdom of what it takes to win. And our goal here at Trade Genius is to just speed that process up as fast as we can. All right. So last week was pretty damn solid, I must say. I've definitely been weeks I've made more, but overall, I do just enjoy it. I like the price movements that we saw last week. I feel like every day, just about, I had a good setup play in my favor, right? Whether it was this buy, whether it was this buy. Um, this one, shout out to Devin, he called this one out, but I just so happened to be looking at the same thing, caught that. So, every day this week, the market was pretty much doing the same things. And, what it is that I'm looking for specifically is, especially on NASDAQ, is, for us to clear out two levels of liquidity, push into an area of liquidity and, get our reaction, right? So even when it comes here, we see the market melt, cleared out this low, cleared out this low. We just so happen to take out three sets of lows here. Even here, we cleared out this low, cleared out this low. Then we got to buy. We look at this, the market started to consolidate. We cleared out that. We also tapped into internal range liquidity right there. Obviously, we're on the 15-minute, but we all know that wick is a heavy crossover. So we cleared out one level, two levels, ran into demand, and then bought up. Very simple. We come over here. This is just a quick recap, guys, just so you can kind of get understanding of what I'm looking at. We got one level of liquidity here, then we got a second one right here. All right. So this is one, this is two. We push down into a area of demand, then we take off. So it's very, cookie cutter, right? It's not meant to be difficult. We're just looking for something very simple, right? So what it is that I'm looking at this particular time is, I'm gonna be on, I'm not gonna try to be a hero, sell against this market. Obviously, we're making, new highs and all of that, which is great, it's beautiful. But we're gonna keep it very consistent, right? So one thing I see, obviously, we do have a gap, right? I'm expecting for the gap to, get closed to a degree, but at the same time, if I'm just marking up liquidity that I can see with my own two eyes right here, all right, I see one level here, second level here, then we have a area of imbalance right here. So I will be looking at this particular level to give me a reaction for more buys. Now, in the meantime, we can look for the potential of sales. We don't have a lot to go off of, unfortunately. And then obviously, as we go to the higher time frames, I mean, we're making new highs. So there's literally nothing for us to go off of, right? There's no structure to the left or anything like that because we are in uncharted territory. So I'll be honest, it is difficult to, try to catch a counter trend trade in areas that you've never been, right? However, if we do get a decent sale pattern, I can see us dropping, right? For the time being, I'm gonna look at these highs to get cleared out because that's the only area of structure I have to go off of. I don't really see any real internal liquidity. All I see are, just highs right here that I don't believe to be strong. So since I don't see those highs being strong, I believe we'll go come and clear them out. We get to like 23, 440, just a round number. 23, 440. We come clear these highs, then I believe we'll get a nice sell off tonight, right? I believe London session will be bearish overall and have us set up nicely for the potential of bullish continuations for New York session. All right. So this is what I'm looking for. Obviously, we do have this large gap that needs to be filled in. As we fill in this gap, anything can happen, but I do just want to be consistent with seeing, again, these lows getting cleared here. I do see this being a potential area of demand because if we look at it closely, obviously we do have a strong low price pattern right here. So with that strong low, we create a low, then we take it out. Right after that, we, impulse to the upside. We also leave behind a small area of imbalance right there. So with that being said, I do see this being a potential area like 23 to 40, right? 23 to 40. Obviously, check your charts. If you trade NQ, depending on the broker, this could be slightly different. So just look at the price pattern and look at the region that I have marked up and go on your chart, mark it up as well. And again, it could be off a few points. It might be off a couple hundred, like who knows. But everybody's, depending on the broker and depending on if you trade Forex futures, whatever, this could be a different number. Okay. So make sure you guys are aware of that. Now, again, we are looking for a sweep of these highs. I'm looking at 23, 440 region. Okay. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's gonna hit that area perfectly. But overall, I'm looking at this region up here to get swept. And if I can make some sort of a bearish price pattern on the lower time frame, I'll gladly take sales just to see what it is that we can get. Okay. Now moving on, like I said, I'm not gonna be long before you guys today. So I'll make sure you guys have some solid setups to take. All right. One thing I noticed here, obviously, right off the bat, is relative equal lows. This is very easy to identify because we have several reactions from these lows, right? Several reactions. We have four reactions from these lows. And what that tells me is that this is a build up. This is an accumulation of some sort, right? Now, if I go ahead and do this, all right, considering that a lot of people are buying the markets down here, just supporting resistance traders that just simply mark up, lows and where the market reacts. A lot of these people are starting to get long right here. All right. So us understanding as traders, we need to not only look at what we're doing, but we also need to be able to identify what others are doing to make sure we're moving in the right direction, right? So if I just take a look at this, obviously we have a high over here that got swept. We also have another high here that got swept. So we did sweep 2 points of liquidity. All right. We're also anticipating these lows being targeted, right? So I have semi-strong highs, right? It's not the strongest highs in the world, but we do have a high that clears out previous highs. On top of that, we do have four sets of relative equal lows that are building and pooling liquidity right here, all right, from all of the people that are buying prematurely. Now, what happens typically if you're inexperienced as a trader, you'll start buying at that level and you'll put your stop losses underneath that level right here. So, assuming that there's a large pocket of money right there, we need to anticipate the potential for a sell off, okay, that can bring the market back down to this area. Now you got to decide whether or not that's worth it to you. Okay. You have to decide whether or not that's worth it to you. I personally probably rather wait on the sell or on a buy, excuse me, just because it's a higher probability trade setup. All right. But again, personally, I could see the sell, right? I'm not going, I'm not against it, but personally, I would prefer to, wait on the buy, okay? But I can definitely see the market dropping down to this point, possibly from this candle. If not, it may push a little bit higher, right? But overall, I could see that possibly like a 5 to 6 pip stop loss, and I could most definitely see the market dropping down to that level. Now, me personally, it is Sunday. I don't want to prematurely take trades. Especially on a Sunday, I'd rather us take out a major area of liquidity or where liquidity has obviously been built up, which is these lows. So what I'm going to look for is 1.341, right? Just give you guys a round number, easy to remember. I say 341, okay? 341. Now, if it happens to be a couple pips above or below, like whatever. Overall, this is the area that I'm looking for to produce a reaction. Whether the reaction hits it perfectly and takes off, whether the reaction slightly overshoots and takes off, overall, I'm looking at this area to hold. Now, the reason I'm giving multiple options is because that's how live trading is. Sometimes you're not going to get the perfect setup on the very first attempt. Sometimes it's going to take multiple jabs. Sometimes you're going to have to, go in more than once to get the setup that you're looking for. All right. So be open to that, be aware of that. But overall, I'm looking at 3, 4, 1, 2 hold up and continue pushing this market up. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Euro USD. No, we took this live. All right. We did take this live. I took and here's exactly what I mean, right? I took an 8 pip stop or 8 pip loss to start this setup, right? Because initially, if you guys were on the call, if this was either Thursday or Friday, whenever this was, right? Friday, initially, I took the trade from here, right? Initially, I took the trade. Why is it not coming up? There we go. Initially, I took the trade from here, right? And I had my stop like right here, right? And from here to there, that was about 8 pips, that little push down. So I ended up getting in a trade prematurely. And then I asked myself, I said, okay, what was the chances that I just became liquidity, but this was the low that they wanted to take out, the market makers, but this is the low that they wanted to respect. So I ended up giving this one another shot. And as you can see, market pushed up beautifully, right? So I say this to show transparency that you don't have to be perfect in terms of your entry all the time. If you can, be right more often than not in the overall directional bias, that's going to save you because there's many different entry models. There's plenty different entry possibilities, and the risk to reward is what's going to save you, right? So again, to take a small loss to turn around and get a 1 to 7, 1 to 6 type of trade setup, whatever, is not bad at all. I ain't mad at that. So these are the types of things that happen. These are the types of things that you got to be okay with. But let's go back to the setup, all right? Just to make sure you guys are following, right? What do? We take out 2 levels of liquidity, right? So take a look at this. We create equal lows. I'll come down to a smaller time frame so y'all can see. So we see we got a reaction here, we got a reaction here. These are relative equal lows. That's one level of liquidity. And then if we zoom out, we got another level here. So this is one, that's two. We have two levels of liquidity. Then the market runs straight through it, right? Right after the market runs straight through it, it instantly reacts and responds. It responds by breaking higher, right? Making a new high right there, right? So right after we make a new high, what happens? The market retraces and we respect this low, okay? So we take out two levels of liquidity, then we shift and make a new high. We retrace respecting the low that made the new high. But not only that, as we retrace, we also took out internal range liquidity, right? Which is important. We already took external. Now we need to take internal, right? So we took 2 points of external, then we took this internal, right? The reason I took this first entry is because I was looking at this as internal, right? And then the only difference is this ended up being internal. So once we took that, this is where the reaction happened instead of here, right? Little nuances like that are okay, right? It's like, it's not that it was a bad trade or nothing like that, because, you know, you could take a setup like this week and it'll play out, right? Sometimes you have to take multiple jabs just to explore the different possibilities, right? And to really see which one is going to stick. All right. So took the first one, it ended up being the second one, then the market pushed. Now, what is it that I see happening from here? Obviously, you know, we did clear out an old set of highs over here, so that's important. Okay, that is important. We cleared out an old set of highs, and we do have ever so slightly um it's not much. It's not much, but it is. So we do have the market consolidate. We sweep highs. And before we break and make new lows, the market does hesitate and then cross over bears. So I get it. It's not that much. And I don't see this being an area that like makes a new low or anything. But that is a reason why we got this reaction right here. And considering we did get that reaction, I would not be surprised to see the market drop just to start the day, right? Clear out, or not clear out, but fill in this little area imbalance, okay? Fill that in. Not only fill that in, but also clear some lows in the process to fuel up that next buy, right? So we know we got some lows resting here. We got some lows over here. And now we just got to decide how far down we're going to go, right? But I do see the market dropping to fill in this at least. As we come down, we could make a higher low and continue bullish, right? So I pretty much have the same sentiment for both EU and GU right now. I'm looking for the market to continue bullish, but not before we have a slight area of retracement, okay? So that's what I'm looking for both EU and GU. Again, Nas, I told y'all what to expect there. Man, that wasted no time, huh? Oh, it didn't sweep yet. Okay, so we're good. It did not sweep yet. I thought it did because of the drawing I had. So it is getting close, right? It is getting close. If we just react first, if we start coming down first, that's a good thing, right? The longer it takes low key, the better. Longer it takes, if it plays around, especially till London session, that's going to be a beautiful trade setup. So I actually wanted to start dropping early because that's gonna actually sucker in people to start selling early. If the market drops like right here, a lot of people are gonna start chasing that sell, which is gonna make that manipulation be that much more attractive. Because what we got to realize is what's happening right now is you have the consolidation phase. We're gonna go into the manipulation phase, and then we'll get the continuation phase. All right. So that's what I'm hoping happens. I hope this thing takes its time. The closer we get to London session, the better. I would prefer to take this a little bit later than sooner. So I'm not mad if this takes a little bit of time. All right. GU, obviously, this is like the risky setup, Sunday afternoon, fiending to take a trade type setup. But I already told y'all the setup that I'm primarily focused on is the buys that's going to take place down there. Okay. Let's go to gold. Let's see what gold has for us. I do see gold buying. I really do. I see gold buying. Um, some other concept. Okay. Market just pushing down. We clear out a level here. That's one. We got a second level here. That's two. We clear it out while respecting the imbalance. Now I do believe that we'll start to trend bullish. Okay. Um, I feel pretty decent about this point of interest here. But even if it came and took this low out one more time, it's okay. Like I said, it happens, right? It happens. But overall, I do see gold going bullish. All right. It's either gonna go bullish from here, or it might just grab a little more liquidity. Either one, we can make money, right? Sometimes you gotta take a swing, right? It's like I said, I compare trading to sports, especially like baseball, where it's like, all right, dude over there in the what they call it, what they call him, the coach, whatever, the person to be over to the side. They tell you take a swing at this one, just swing at this one. All right, it might be a ball, it might not be a good pitch. I'm gonna just swing at it, take a jab. Let me see what happens, and then but you still strategizing. You know what I mean? So overall, I do see gold going up. Um, I do see gold going up. We just got to determine where it's going to happen from exactly, whether or not it's going to happen from here or if it's going to go just a little bit lower first. Okay. Let's see. But yeah, I'm looking at this level to begin with. And if this doesn't play out, I'll be looking for an ace entry. But overall, I am looking for bullishness out of this area of demand. Okay. I'm looking for bullishness from this area of demand. Now, I have this zone marked up because it's the imbalance. But again, if we come a little lower, whatever the case may be, we're like, it's gonna fly. You just kind of have to, sometimes you gotta wait them extra wicks out, them annoying, liquidity spikes, especially on a pair like gold. Gold could be real volatile at times, and it may just do that just to knock out early buyers again. And sometimes it's like I say, it's stressful, but sometimes you gotta like, you might just become a victim temporarily, but then you see what the market's doing, where it wants to go, then you can, get that long-term position back in. Okay. So I do see longs happening on gold. So just prepare yourself for that. So far as Nas is concerned, not Nas, but USD CAD, my bad. So about Nas, USD CAD. I really don't see nothing interesting on this, if I'm being honest. It's just not an interesting pair for me right now. Um, Bitcoin, 125 this week, easy. Right? 125 this week, easy. Um, Obviously these are coins that are already pretty expensive. So it's not like you're gonna make $1 million or nothing. But overall, I do see us going probably at 125, 126. Depending on what happens, maybe pushing 130. All right. April or not April, excuse me, August. I'm getting all my months and days mixed up. But August is a huge month for crypto. So I am looking for bullish pushes there. XRP, just a drop off. I think it's about 10% drop. Yeah, a little more than that actually, almost 20%. So definitely hope you guys bought the dip. XRP, I could see that making fresh highs this week. We're gonna get close to $4 probably by the end of the week. I am expecting bullishness there. Um, Ethereum never really went down, but obviously, bull market conditions. XLM also bull market conditions, right? It had 100% gain in 1 week. It took a week, couple weeks to cool off, but I do see the next leg up happening there. Solana, same thing. It was down earlier in the summer. That also shot up a good considerable percentage. We went from about 95 to over 200. So that's another 100% gainer just over the summer. So, that could just kind of show you, not summer, but April just going into summer to now. So, I definitely see Solana continuing its run to make new highs. I'm expecting like 215-ish. I do think we'll make new highs though. I do think we'll make new highs. I'm expecting, 210, 215-ish by the end of the week. Overall, obviously 300, is en route. Okay. But what it is that I started doing, guys, is like really focusing, cutting back on the number of pairs that I'm trading, just to narrow the focus. It's all about risk to reward. It's all about percentage gains. We don't need every pair. We don't need to take a million different trades. We just need to catch the right trades at the right time, to make all the money necessary. So when I look at something like gold, we catch this at the bottom, we're gonna be good, right? That can be something you hold all week. Even like GU, I see these lows getting hit. If we go down to 341, or like I said, even if we overshoot, but we end up, pulling back in, get in, whatever you got to do to find yourself in this position. I could see this thing going long term, bullish, because if you look at just how bullish it's been, right? Not just in the past few weeks, but last several months, right? This entire year, GU has been extremely bullish, right? Extremely bullish. And all this is a retracement, in my opinion, right? That's all, right? We had this nice push up, we retraced, and now I'm looking for the next run, the next bullish rally. So, I'm going for the overall momentum, and we're just waiting for these higher time frame levels to hit. Okay. Check the chat real quick.
Hey, I usually don't trade on Sundays, but that gold play is looking really good. Not gonna lie to you, bro.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, sometimes they sneak sometimes they sneak an entry in there pretty early. There's been plenty of times where I've seen the market, like I said, sneak that entry in on late on a Friday or early on a Sunday, just because I feel like they know a lot of people are trying to see and wait towards the middle of the week, and then next thing you know, that thing is just running, and there's nothing you can do about it. But overall, I do see this panning out. Like, we do have a small little hitch in the market right there. Um, I want to at least see that get taken out. And if we can respect this, beautiful. If we come and clear those lows, so be it. Overall, I still feel confident about the overall movement there. Now, so far as NASDAQ, we are clearing these highs. It is still a bit early, I'll be honest. Like me personally, I'm not gonna take this, even if I end up, missing the sale. Personally, I'm gonna just wait a little bit longer. I definitely don't want to do something a little too impulsive. It's not really, the best time in my opinion. Now, when I become too restrictive on time, I'll be honest, there has been plenty of times where I've missed out on trades by being, too strict on time. But even on top of that, there's not enough price action for me to take this, right? I want to see a clear, build up manipulation, that consolidation manipulation. And then, especially if I want to take an ace entry, that's what I want to see. I don't see much consolidation here. It just kind of appears like it because of that gap. But in reality, this is just an impulse of market just kind of did a slight retracement and now it's just continuing to make a new high. We're gonna, really see this market stall out for a while. Like it didn't really have a true consolidation just yet. So I'm not gonna take this just yet. I'm gonna be patient, sit on my hands. But again, hopefully within the next few hours, it starts showing clearly what the intentions are, and we can be prepared properly for that. All right. So, GU is reacting slowly but surely. Again, these lows, looking for those to get hit. EU, similar, but I feel like GU is a little easier to read. Gold, already told you guys what I'm expecting there. This little push up, don't chase it. Definitely see the market coming down one more time. So don't get enticed by this early little push up. Wait for the market to come down 33.29, right? 33.29 or below. Really like 33.27, but 29 or below. That could be your first jab of the week. Okay. All right. Um, Nothing on USD CAD. Okay. So I know that was quick, efficient, right? Again, I don't do too much with all these other pairs these days. Unless I just don't see anything available anywhere else, then I'll kind of be a little more open to more pairs. But I feel like I'm pretty content with what it is that I see. But I can have my approach on a live trading session. But considering this is the weekly outlook, I will do a quick I do mean a quick run through just to see if anything else jumps out at me. Probably won't, but doesn't hurt just to see. Here, high, drop. Let's see what we got. See equal highs. Growth, CHF. We got a possible here. We got a possible here. Yeah, possible there. Nobody really trades this personally. I don't know about y'all. I don't trade this pair, but again, I do see the Asia range consolidation that was building. Market did push down to make a new low, but we come back. We have swept Asia session highs. So if we drop now, okay, then come back for this later, that can be the second level of liquidity that we end up coming down, right? So I do want to see it drop first in order to build up more money on the sales side right there. And that'll only happen if we drop now, if we start to drop now, and then we come and manipulate here a little later around midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., then I could see that playing out nicely. Okay. So Euro Chief potentially, depending on what this reaction looks like. Okay. Euro CAD. See what we got. I don't really see nothing here, unfortunately. Just heavy bullishness. Okay. Heavy bullishness. Obviously, we got old highs over here, but I don't really see that being anything worth my attention, at least not yet. Um, I think we'll continue to make new highs. If we get some sort of sell pattern, we could potentially get a nice retracement back towards these levels, but I don't see that happening just yet. So I don't really, nothing's really sticking out to me there. Okay. So out of all the Euro pairs, obviously we talked about Euro USD earlier. Euro Chef is a potential. I don't see much on Euro AUD. I will look at this high right here. Again, we are starting to slowly consolidate, so that could be our first build up level of liquidity. So we clear that one, and then we clear that one for our second level. Okay. I could see that, but that is probably won't happen tonight. Maybe that can happen for New York, but just kind of see. I don't see the market making that much distance, that much ground. I don't see it making that much distance for London session personally, but you never know. The markets can surprise you. We'll see. If it gets up all the way up there for London session, so be it. I don't really see it happening, but if we do, we do, right? So obviously the market is starting to reject, little trend line liquidity. We are having a build up. So I do believe the market will push through this level pretty easily. Once it pushes through that level, it'll probably give you some sort of a drop to induce. And then once we clear that and clear that, I think that'll be potential right there. And then we could target this level because here we don't know if the market's gonna keep going lower or if the market is gonna buy from here because we do have this larger level of imbalance right here. We also have our hezzy crossover right here. So we do have a potential bullish hezzy crossover right here. Could definitely just be counter trend setting up for a buy, but we don't know until we cross that bridge. So pretty much I'm just looking at this as a bullish hezzy crossover. In order for that to get hit, the market needs to retrace somehow. So in order for the market to retrace, we need to clear out a couple levels and reach this area of supply. So I'm just coming up with a solution for that to play out. Okay. So we got potential Euro chief sales, potential short-term Euro USD sales into potential longs. And then we got same thing, Euro AUD. Start the week off with some shorts. We can end the week off or midweek on some longs. All right. Let's check out GBP real quick. Not gonna go too long today, y'all. I do have another call coming. Uh Not trading wise, but I do have to take another call here in about 10-15. So I'm not gonna be long with y'all today. I'll also make sure this one gets recorded 100%, guys. This call will go up in the recordings on YouTube. So definitely be sure to check that out. Um, Here, for example, I did not take that, by the way. I was thinking about it, but I ended up passing on that. I saw this area imbalance, but again, it kind of goes back to what are we clearing out? We didn't really clear out much, okay? And even here, that's not much. But like that's why the market ended up taking that level out completely. Now that we have taken that level out completely, I think now it is wise to start looking at the potential for long, right? We got this little area consolidation here. We got some lows here. The market can find its way a little bit lower. See if we got any imbalance, anything here. No, not really. Not really. That's not something I want to force, but I will entertain this. It just depends on how the market is responding once we get here. The market is making good price action. Once we get to this little area of imbalance, I will entertain this as a potential, because what we got to realize is we got a low here that got taken out. So that's a strong low. As the market is transitioning higher, we leave a little area of imbalance. Got a hezzy crossover here. And now all of this can be used as internal liquidity, right? So this could just be a big buildup for when the market comes and clears out all of these lows. That's all the liquidity has been built up and it can continue from there. That is a possibility, right? So keep your eyes open for that. That is possible, all right? Overall, pair is consolidating a lot. So it's a little difficult to trade these patterns, but when you are trading consolidation, you just want to make sure you're trading outside of it, right? So here you had the low of the consolidation, you took the low out. So now we may push towards the top of this consolidation because we already took out external range liquidity. All right. Keep your eyes on that. It's a possible for sure, for sure. That is a good possibility. All right. Here I told y'all this last week to look for the ace. The market pushed up a little higher than I thought, but it did eventually come and go bearish. And this is what I mean, right? Like it doesn't always play out to the pit how you want it to, but the formation and the pattern is what we want to pay attention to. It's like the fact that I just knew that how I was gonna go. I got taken. Then it created the consolidation manipulation. So even if I'm looking for an ace, I still need to see that pattern form, right? So we took out the high, then we got our ace. Market made a lower high, took out the hezzy, right? Made a lower high right here, then it continued bearish. Um, Overall, I don't see much on GA. GCAD looks a little more promising. GU looks a little more promising. GA, I'm just gonna let it keep dying. GBP CHF, same. It's just some pairs that's worth trading, some that's not. I could probably try and do my best to find a setup here, but I just rather not. Trade the things that's clear to you. When I say clear to you, not necessarily clean to everybody else, because you don't want to do what everybody else is doing, but like clear to the concepts that you trade. Right? We know we know how to identify traps. We know how to, understand liquidity and stuff like that. So I want to trade the cleanest way within those guidelines that I can. All right. GN, I mean, I feel like everybody sees it, but I feel like everybody sees this. And just because of that, I don't really trust it. I ain't gonna lie. But, you know, we can get a reaction. I wouldn't trade GN anyway because the spread is horrendous. Like GN spread, I think it's like 3-4 pips. So I wouldn't really trade GN anyway. And GJ is, I mean, a mess to say the least. Obviously, I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this. So since everybody's looking at that, I'm not. Okay, like plain and simple. Whatever everybody else sees, I try to see something different. So maybe we come clear that out. This will be the first level of liquidity. This will be the second. Maybe we come into this gap and then drop. But I just don't want to do what everybody else does. That's not going to be, beneficial for me. Okay. A lot of people are going to sell here. We might get a reaction. Then they're going to get knocked out. They'll be confused. And they're going to go long. The moment they go long, that's when I think we'll probably drop. Okay. So I think this is a trap. I do. I see this high over here. It's almost like a larger hezzy, right? Let's just come to the 4 hour, see if we see anything, right? So we got a strong high right here. We got a high that creates a strong high, right? And then as the market is on its way to make a new low, it hesitates right here off of demand. As it hesitates, it creates this hezzy, then it crosses over to make a new low. So this is why I don't want to get caught up right here. I feel like these are people that's getting too caught up on the lower time frame, right? They're getting too caught up on the lower time frame. This is a bigger H4 hezzy crossover, right? Probably look a little better on the 2 hour. Yeah, I agree. It looks a little Better on a 2 hour, but we got a strong high hezzy crossover. So I'm gonna use this as my internal range liquidity. All right. This is the hezzy off of demand. This is the crossover bearish. People are gonna get sucked in right there. When they get sucked in, we wait for the liquidity. We wait for them to become liquidity. We don't trade with them. And then once that level gets cleared, once this level gets cleared, this is where we're going to take our sales at right here. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I like that a lot. It's the same right here. Like, look, you take out one level, boom, you take out two levels, boom, then you get the sale, right? So same with here. Take out one level, take out two levels, boom, you get the sale, right? So start playing around with that, with your, trading. You'll start to see a little more consistency. You might miss some setups here and there, and that's fine. Like we're not here to catch every single setup the market gives. We're just here to catch the ones that have the highest probability of making us profitable. All right. So overall, I feel like it's a big week ahead, y'all. I feel like we got a big week ahead. I see a lot of potential. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the markets can provide for us, man. I really am. Looking forward to trading this week. Okay. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Good drop here. Let's look for this. Okay. Now, mind you, first level gone. This is the second level. Let's wait for that one. Okay. So we swept one level. We need to sweep a second. Then I think we'll get the sale. I think we still a little early. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever. At least you ain't, you might miss a trade, like I said. But when you do take trades, they're gonna be higher probability. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. I feel like a lot of people are chasing right now. Chasing, chasing, chasing. This is what we're gonna wait for. Okay. When the market comes and clears this, 23,440, 23,440. All right. Don't chase this. I think we still good. I do believe we're still good. Don't chase it. Once this high gets cleared again, then you could take some sales to come fill in this gap. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But again, I'm just looking for the ways to preserve capital while still pulling profit out the market consistently. All right. Look, the time is 7. We've been on for about an hour. Hopefully you guys did get some value just from this weekly breakdown. If you guys ready for the week, man, drop some 777s in the chat. Let me know how y'all feeling. You guys are ready to run it up this week. I know I am. I know I'm ready to catch a nice little bag. Excuse me. But overall, man, that's all I got. Appreciate y'all for tuning in this weekend or this evening with me. And let's put ourselves in position to win big. All right. If you're in Trade Genius, these setups will be dropped. So be on the lookout for that. And also, as soon as it's done downloading, I will upload this to YouTube for everybody that had to get off or you missed it. You'll have some sort of replay value and you have something to learn from. Okay. Appreciate y'all, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning for New York session. Much love. Peace.